Kira Frost never expected to become the protector of royalty from another world. She was simply doing her job as a security specialist on the remote research outpost of Frontier Base 7 when everything changed. The base sirens blared through the night as something entered the atmosphere at dangerous speeds. The object was too small to be a ship but too controlled to be space debris. Kira grabbed her tactical gear and headed out with the response team. Her heart pounded with each step. She took toward the unknown. As team lead, she directed the others to form a perimeter, while she approached the crash site with caution. The forest around them was thick with tall pines, and the smell of burning metal filled the air. A trail of destruction led to a small clearing where the object had come to rest. What crashed in the dense forest beyond the base perimeter was not what anyone expected. A small escape pod of alien design lay smoking among broken trees. The metal surface was unlike anything Kira had seen before, with swirling patterns that seemed to move in the moonlight. She signaled the team to hold position while she moved closer. Her scanner detected no radiation or toxic elements, so she removed her helmet to get a better look. Inside, the cracked viewport was a slender figure with luminous blue skin, delicate ridges along her skull and eyes that shimmered like polished amethyst. The alien was badly injured. Her breathing came in short gasps, and silvery blood seeped from wounds along her side. The escape pod hissed and the door released with a soft click, revealing more of the injured being. Kira acted on instinct. She broke protocol, pushed past the hesitant team leader, and carried the alien back to base. The blue-skinned being was surprisingly light in her arms, almost weightless compared to a human of similar size. The alien whispered words in a language that sounded like flowing water and gentle bells. Back at the base, chaos erupted. The security team argued with the scientific division about proper containment protocols, while the medical staff refused to treat an unknown species without proper authorization. Kira stood in the middle of it all, still holding the injured alien. She made a decision that would change everything. I am taking her to medical now. This being needs help and we are wasting time. The authority in her voice silenced the room. Her military background gave her words weight, and her reputation for making tough calls earned her respect. Hours later, in the quarantine section of medical, the alien stabilized and regained consciousness. Kira had not left her side despite orders to report to the commander. She felt oddly protective of this stranger from the stars. The alien opened her eyes. Fully for the first time, the purple irises contracted in the light, and she reached a slender hand toward Kira. The security specialist did not pull away as the cool blue fingers touched her wrist. A small device on the alien bracelet glowed, and suddenly words formed in the air between them. My gratitude for your assistance, human. I am Nalara of House Celestial, third princess of the Valexi Dominion. Kira introduced herself simply. I am Kira, Frost Security Specialist for Earth Space Initiative. Are you feeling better? Nalara explained through her translation device that she had barely escaped an assassination attempt orchestrated by her cousin, who sought to usurp the throne. The Valexi civilization was a spacefaring species humanity had yet to encounter officially, though they had been observing Earth for decades. I am the last of the true royal line. My cousin has eliminated my family and seeks me to complete her coup. Our people will suffer under her rule. She lacks the compassion needed to govern. The medical staff watched from behind a glass partition as Kira and the alien princess spoke. The base commander joined them, his face stern as he observed the interaction. He tapped the intercom. We need to report this immediately. Earth Command must be informed. Nalara sat up suddenly, her eyes wide with fear. No, you must not. Your communication networks are compromised. My cousin has infiltrators among your people. A message will alert them to my location. Kira saw the genuine terror in the alien eyes and made a decision to trust her instincts. The commander was not pleased. He threatened court-martial. But Kira stood firm. She requested emergency leave, citing family crisis, before he could officially order her to stand down. That night, as the base slept, Kira returned to medical with a bag of supplies. She helped Nalara to her feet and guided her toward the maintenance exit, where security cameras had a blind spot. The alien was weak but determined. They slipped into the darkness together, fugitives from two worlds. They traveled in Kira's civilian vehicle, an old model ground transport, with no tracking systems toward the mountains where her family had a cabin. It would be safe there at least until they figured out what to do next. As dawn broke over the distant peaks, Nalara performed an unexpected ritual. She pressed her palm against Kira's forearm. Without warning, a soft blue glow spread where their skin met, and Kira felt an odd sensation ripple through her body, like electricity but somehow comforting. Through the translator, Nalara explained, "What I have done is sacred. The life bond is only performed in desperate times. It links protector and protected until the threat is eliminated, or I reclaim my throne. You are now biologically compelled to ensure my survival, and I am bound to preserve your life as well." Kira was shocked. "The bond will allow us to sense each other's emotions and physical state. It will enhance your natural abilities when I am in danger. It is the highest honor among my people." In the days that followed, they reached the isolated cabin deep in the mountain forest. Kira felt the changes the bond had created. She could sense when Nalara was afraid or in pain. She knew, instinctively, when the alien needed rest or nourishment. The connection went beyond words. Nalara taught Kira about Velexi culture, explaining how her people valued harmony with technology. Her species had evolved beyond many physical limitations, but lost something vital along the way: the ability to adapt quickly to new threats. This was why her cousin had nearly succeeded. The royal lineage had become predictable. Kira shared human history, focusing on how adaptation and determination helped humanity survive against overwhelming odds. Nalara was fascinated by human resilience and the concept of fighting against impossible situations. "My people believe technology is the answer to all problems. But you humans, with your limited resources, find ways to overcome challenges we would consider insurmountable. It is why some in our leadership fear your kind. You are unpredictable." As they spoke, Kira suddenly felt a sharp sensation through the bond. She grabbed her weapon and pushed Nalara to the floor seconds before the window shattered. A projectile embedded itself in the wall where the princess had been standing. "They are here," Nalara whispered, her voice trembling. "The assassins have found us." Kira moved with new purpose gathering what supplies she could as she led Nalara toward the back exit. "We need to reach the caves in the mountain. I played there as a child. They will give us cover." The bond between them pulsed with shared fear and determination as they ran into the forest, leaving behind the safety of human civilization and stepping into an interstellar conflict neither had chosen, but both were now bound to face. The mountain forest became their battlefield as Kira and Nalara fled deeper into the wilderness. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing moment, allowing Kira to sense the 3 Velexi assassins tracking them. They moved like shadows through the underbrush, their technology making them nearly invisible to normal human perception. But Kira was no longer entirely normal. The life bond had changed her in ways she was only beginning to understand. She could feel subtle disturbances in the air where cloaking fields disrupted natural patterns. She sensed body heat and motion where nothing should be. They reached the cave system by nightfall, a vast network of underground tunnels Kira had explored in her youth. Nalara was weakening, the strain of their escape taxing her still healing body. The princess leaned against the cool stone wall, her blue skin pale and her breathing labored. "Rest here. I will set traps along the approach," Kira whispered. She gathered materials from the forest floor, creating simple but effective alarms that would alert them to anyone following their trail. The skills she had learned in military training combined with her intimate knowledge of the terrain gave them a small advantage when she returned. Nalara was sitting cross-legged in a meditative pose, her eyes opened, revealing a deeper purple than before. "The assassins are elite warriors of House Shadow," she explained. "They have enhanced strength, speed, and sensory perception. Their armor can deflect your primitive weapons, and their tools can track the royal bloodline across galaxies." Kira nodded. "Taking in this information, we need to separate them. Alone, they might be formidable, but together they are unstoppable." A small smile played across her lips. Fortunately, humans excel at being annoying. She outlined her plan using sticks to draw in the dirt. The cave system had multiple entrances and countless dead ends. It was a natural maze that even she sometimes got lost in as a child. They would use this to their advantage, luring the assassins away from each other before confronting them. One by one. Nalara looked uncertain. Your weapons cannot harm their armor. How will you defeat them? Kira picked up a heavy stone. The universe has the most basic weapons everywhere. If I cannot shoot through their armor, I will crush it. If I cannot crush it, I will find its weak points. Every technology has limitations. Every being needs to breathe. The night passed in tense preparation. Kira fashioned crude weapons from branches and stones while Nalara used her knowledge of Velexi physiology to identify vulnerable points. Kira learned that despite their advanced technology, the Velexi still had biological weaknesses. Pressure points, where nerves clustered joints that could be hyperextended respiratory systems that could be compromised. The bond between them deepened as they shared knowledge. Kira began to understand instinctively how Velexi bodies functioned while Nalara gained insight into human tactical thinking. The princess was amazed by how quickly Kira adapted to new information, incorporating it immediately into her strategy. As dawn approached, they felt the assassins draw near. The first trap triggered, sending a disordered cascade of stones down the hillside. This was not meant to harm, but to separate, drawing one assassin toward the eastern cave entrance, while the others investigated the western approach. Kira positioned Nalara in a small alcove deep within the cave. System. Stay here. Focus on the bond. Feed me what you know about the one coming from the east. I will handle this. The princess nodded, her eyes glowing softly in the darkness, a beacon for Kira to return to. The human moved silently through the tunnels, her senses heightened by the bond she felt. Rather than heard the assassin entering the eastern passage, the Velexi moved with unnatural grace, its form only partially visible due to adaptive camouflage technology, but Kira could sense its presence, a disturbance in the natural flow of the cave. She waited in a narrow passage where the ceiling dropped low, forcing anyone passing through to duck. Their height would be a disadvantage here. The assassin approached its attention, focused on tracking devices rather than its surroundings. It was not prepared for a primitive ambush. Kira struck from above, dropping onto the Velexi with all her weight and driving it to the ground. The assassin reacted with blinding speed, throwing her off. But the confined space limited its movement. She had chosen the battlefield well. The fight was brutal and swift. The assassin fired energy weapons that scorched the stone walls, but Kira stayed low, using the uneven ground to shield herself. She circled, finding the angles the Velexi technology could not track. Through the bond she felt Nalara guiding her, identifying the weak points in the assassin armor. There behind the knee, a joint uncovered by the protective plating. Kira drove a sharpened stake into the gap. The assassin stumbled, silvery blood seeping from the wound. It switched tactics, drawing a blade that hummed with energy, capable of cutting through stone. But it had never faced a human fighting for someone they were bound to protect. Kira dodged the blade strikes, moving in ways the Velexi combat algorithms could not predict. She fought with controlled chaos, using the environment as a weapon, luring the assassin under a weak section of ceiling before triggering a collapse. The Velexi was pinned, its lower body trapped beneath fallen rock. Kira approached cautiously. Using a technique Nalara had shared, she pressed specific points on the assassin neck, rendering it unconscious rather than killing it. One down, she thought, feeling Nalara acknowledgement through their connection. The princess directed her attention to the western tunnel, where the other two assassins had split up. One was circling back toward their position, while the other searched deeper in the cave system. Kira retrieved the assassin weapons and armor components. She had no training with the strange technology, but Nalara guidance through the bond helped her identify useful pieces. A small device attached to the assassin wrist seemed to be a tracker. Removed it and placed it on a small woodland creature she found near the cave entrance, sending the animal scurrying away in the opposite direction. The second assassin proved more challenging. This one moved with greater caution, having lost contact with its companion. It used scanning technology that could penetrate the stone walls, making hiding impossible. Kira needed a different approach. Using knowledge flowing through the bond, she identified a tunnel that ran parallel to the assassin path. At a junction where the passages met, she created a diversion, using the energy weapon she had taken from the first attacker. The blast caused a section of wall to collapse, filling the air with dust and debris. In the confusion, she struck. The second assassin was prepared, catching her arm mid-strike. But Kira had anticipated this, using the captured momentum to swing around the Velexi fighter. She targeted the breathing apparatus all Velexi wore in Earth atmosphere. The alien biology required different oxygen concentrations, and the device regulated this. The assassin realized the danger too late. Kira damaged the regulator, causing the Velexi to gasp and struggle for breath. It was not fatal, but disorienting enough for her to gain the upper hand. She used the assassin-own restraining technology against it, securing its limbs with energy bonds that contracted when movement was detected. 2 down, she thought, as she made her way back to Nalara. But the princess was no longer in the alcove where Kira had left her. Through the bond, she felt fear, not from Nalara, but for her. The third assassin had somehow circled around and found the princess. Kira raced through the tunnels, following the pull of the bond. She emerged into a larger cavern with a high ceiling and natural stone columns. The third assassin held Nalara by the throat, its weapon pointed at her headstop. Human, or the princess dies. The assassin voice was metallic and cold, translated through technology similar to Nalara bracelet. Kira froze, assessing the situation. The bond told her Nalara was afraid but also determined. The princess' eyes met hers, conveying a message beyond words. Through their connection, Nalara shared her knowledge of the final assassin. This one was different. Its armor had weaknesses. The others did not, specifically designed for the leader to have greater mobility at the cost of some protection. Surrender now, the assassin demanded, and I will make your death painless. Resist and you will suffer for days before I allow you to die. Kira raised her hands, appearing to submit. But as the assassin attention shifted slightly, she launched a small stone she had concealed in her palm. It struck the exact point Nalara had identified, a gap in the armor near the neck where sensors connected to the helmet. The assassin faltered its grip on Nalara, loosening just enough for the princess to twist free. The Velexi recovered quickly, firing its weapon. Kira dove behind a stone column as energy blasts superheated the air around her. The final battle had begun, with both human and alien using the cavern natural features as cover. The assassin had superior technology, but Kira had something the Velexi could not comprehend. She had the bond, and with it a connection to her enemy biology and weaknesses. The fight moved across the cavern in a deadly dance. Energy weapons against improvised tools. Advanced armor against human determination. What the assassin failed to understand was that humans had evolved as persistence predators. With each exchange, Kira learned more, adapting her strategy while the Velexi relied on programming and protocols. The assassin ship was unlike anything Kira had ever seen. It resembled a teardrop made of flowing metal that seemed alive somehow, responding to touch and thought. The exterior had no visible seams or access points, just smooth, iridescent surface that rippled slightly when approached. Nalara placed her hand against the hull and closed her eyes. The ship recognizes royal blood, she explained as a section of the hull became transparent, revealing an entrance. The biometric systems cannot be fooled by genetic manipulation, which is why my cousin needs me eliminated, rather than simply replaced. They dragged the unconscious assassins inside, securing them in what appeared to be a small holding cell. Nalara explained that Velexi justice required live capture whenever possible, even for traitors. The ship interior was surprisingly organic, with corridors that curved gently and lighting that adjusted to their presence. The control center contained no visible instruments or screens. Instead, a central platform stood empty until Nalara stepped onto it. Holographic displays sprang to life surrounding her. The princess began interfacing with the ship systems, her fingers dancing through symbols and patterns. Kira could not comprehend. "Can you fly this thing?" Kira asked, watching in amazement as the ship came to life around them. Nalara nodded. "I received basic flight training, as all royals do, but I am not a pilot." This vessel, however, is semi-autonomous. It will respond to my commands and handle the technical aspects of navigation." Her expression became serious. "We face a difficult journey. The nearest jump point is in your system outer belt. Beyond that, we must traverse 3 nexus gates to reach Velexi space. Each transition increases our risk of detection through the bond." Kira felt the princess' anxiety and uncertainty. It went beyond simple fear of capture. There was something Nalara was not telling her. The human moved closer, resting a hand on the blue-skinned shoulder. "What else troubles you?" Nalara hesitated for a moment, meeting Kira's eyes. "The life bond I created between us. It was not merely for protection. There is more I should have told you. The bond cannot be broken once formed. It is permanent, even if we succeed. Even if I reclaim my throne, we will always be connected. You will never be able to return to your former life." The revelation hit Kira like a physical blow. She stepped back, processing what this meant. Her career, her future, her identity, all irrevocably changed by a decision made in haste. "You knew this when you created the bond." The princess nodded, her eyes downcast. "I was desperate. I feared you would abandon me. If you knew the full truth, I am sorry." The regret flowing through their connection was genuine. Kira could feel it as clearly as her own emotions. She took a deep breath, considering her options. The bond already existed. Nothing could change that fact. And regardless of how it had happened, Kira found she did not regret protecting Nalara. Their time together had awakened something in her, a sense of purpose beyond the rigid structures of military life. "Well then," Kira said finally, "we better make sure you get your throne back, because I have no intention of spending my life hiding from assassins." Her attempt at humor broke the tension. Nalara smiled gratefully, the relief palpable through their connection. The ship lifted off silently, its advanced technology masking any signs of departure from Earth detection systems. They climbed rapidly through the atmosphere, the curve of the planet becoming visible through the viewports. Kira had seen Earth from orbit during training missions, but never like this. The Velexi ship provided perfect clarity, without windows or screens somehow, projecting the external environment directly to their senses as they accelerated toward the outer system. Nalara began teaching Kira about Velexi culture and politics. The princess explained that her civilization had existed for millennia, achieving technological advancement that humans could barely comprehend. But with that advancement came stagnation. Our society is rigid, highly structured. She explained, each individual is assessed at birth and placed within a caste that determines their entire life path. There is little deviation, little innovation. Our technology evolves slowly through careful iteration rather than creative leaps. The royal family, she continued, was meant to provide balance, introducing controlled change when necessary and preserving traditions that served the common good. Her cousin Sorella had risen through the military caste, eventually gaining enough influence to challenge the established order. She promises a return to expansion, to conquest. Our people have been peaceful for generations, focusing inward on perfection of self and society. Sorella would have us dominate again as we did in our distant past. She speaks of human unpredictability as a threat that must be controlled before you develop further. As Nalara spoke, Kira felt a growing connection to the princess, caused beyond their personal bond. There was something important here about the relationship between their species, about different paths to advancement. The Velexi had achieved technological marvels but lost something vital in the process. While humans stumbled forward chaotically but with innovation and adaptability, they reached the jump point after 2 days of travel, a subtle distortion in space barely visible to human eyes, but the ship sensors detected it clearly. Nalara guided them through the transition. The experience was disorienting, a moment where reality seemed to fold around them before snapping back into place. They emerged in a different star system, with an enormous gas giant dominating the view. The first Nexus gate loomed ahead, a massive ring structure floating in space. Thousands of ships moved around it, forming orderly queues. The gate was a hub connecting multiple systems and would be heavily monitored. Nalara frowned, studying the security patterns. This will be difficult. The ship identity codes will trigger alerts. She manipulated the controls, bringing up detailed information. The assassins were using diplomatic override codes, but those will be flagged. Now that they have failed to report in, Kira studied the traffic patterns, noticing something interesting among the organized chaos. The smaller vessels, those making routine cargo runs, seemed to undergo less scrutiny, many clustered together moving. Through the gate in group, she pointed this out to Nalara. The princess considered, "We could attempt to mask our signature blend with a merchant group, but the risk is considerable. If we are discovered here, there will be nowhere to run through there." Kira sensed there was more at stake than simply being captured. What happens if they take you alive? Nalara's eyes darkened. Mind extraction. My cousin would not kill me immediately. She would extract my memories, my knowledge of royal protocols, and security measures. Then she would use that information to solidify her control over the government. This ship contains similar technology. The assassins would have taken everything in my mind before eliminating me. Kira shuddered at the thought. Then we avoid capture at all costs. Looking at the gate again, she had another idea. Those maintenance vessels moving along the gate structure. What if we don't go through the gate? What if we go around it? Nalara looked confused. The Nexus gates are the only stable transit points. Moving between systems without them is theoretically possible, but requires enormous energy and precise calculations. No ship this size carries such capability. No, Kira clarified. What if we attach ourselves to one of those maintenance ships right along as they service the outer ring? They must move around the structure, probably have their own dedicated transit points for emergencies. Understanding dawned on the princess face. That might work. The maintenance crews are automated drones. They follow fixed patterns and their security protocols are basic. The ship can generate a temporary adhesion field. They altered course approaching the gate from above the main traffic lanes. The ship systems scanned the maintenance, patterns identifying a drone cluster moving toward a section of the ring furthest from the central control hub. Using the minimal stealth capabilities of the assassin vessel, they approached close enough to establish the adhesion field connecting them to the largest maintenance drone. For tense hours, they moved with the drone around the outer ring structure. Nalara monitored communications channels, ready to break away at the first sign of detection. Finally, the maintenance unit approached. A small auxiliary gate used for system repairs, now Nalara whispered. She released the adhesion field and guided their ship toward the auxiliary gate. It was barely large enough for their vessel, but the princess navigated with precision. The transit was rougher than the main gate. The auxiliary system clearly not designed for passenger comfort. They emerged in a sparsely populated system, 2 jumps closer to Velexi space. Nalara allowed herself a small smile of victory. The first major obstacle, overcome. But her celebration was short-lived as alarms sounded throughout the ship, 3 vessels approaching from the outer system. Their configuration matches Royal Guard patrol ships. They are charging weapons. Kira moved to what appeared to be a tactical station. How did they find us? Nalara's hands moved rapidly through the holographic controls. They didn't. The patrol is routine for this sector, but our emergence from the auxiliary gate would have triggered automated alerts. The princess worked frantically to bring defensive systems online. Can we outrun them? Kira asked, watching as the patrol ships rapidly closed the distance. No, Nalara admitted. This vessel is designed for stealth, not speed. We cannot win a direct confrontation either. Their ships carry much heavier armaments. Her eyes met Kira. The human saw determination replace fear. We must surrender. The Royal Guard vessel was a striking contrast to the assassin ship. While both were products of advanced Velexi technology, the guard ship embraced its military nature with visible weapons arrays and armored bulkheads. The corridors were wider, allowing for formal processions and the lighting brighter. Eliminating shadows where threats might hide, Kira and Nalara were escorted to separate chambers for initial questioning. Through the bond, Kira could sense the princess projecting reassurance. Despite their physical separation, the connection between them remained strong, almost as if Nalara was standing beside her. The interrogation room was sparse, containing only a simple platform in the center. Kira was instructed to stand on it and immediately felt a subtle energy field envelop her. A Velexi officer entered his uniform, bearing elaborate insignia that Kira recognized from Nalara teachings as markers of the Noble Guardian caste. "I am Second Commander Valen of House Storm, loyal to the Dominion." The officer studied Kira with intense purple eyes. "Your presence here is unprecedented. Human military personnel have never entered this sector." Kira remained silent, remembering Nalara advice to speak only when directly questioned. "Explain how you came to be bonded to a royal." The commander demanded. Kira chose her words carefully, adhering to Velexi formal speech patterns as Nalara had taught her. "I found the princess injured after her escape pod crashed near my outpost. She was pursued. By assassins I offered protection. She offered the bond. It was accepted with full understanding of its permanence." The commander circled her, the scanning field pulsing with each of his steps. "You claim to understand the implications of the life bond. Few outside our species comprehend its significance. I understand that it cannot be broken." Kira replied. "I understand that it connects us at a fundamental level, allowing shared sensation and knowledge. I understand that it is considered sacred among your people." "Interesting," the commander murmured. "You speak with unusual knowledge for a human. Your military records indicate standard service. Nothing exceptional, yet you defeated 3 elite shadow guards with primitive weapons. How is this possible?" Kira felt a warning pulse through the bond Nalara was cautioning her. The commander words suggested they had accessed Earth databases, which should have been impossible unless they had deeper infiltration than even Nalara had suspected. "The bond enhances natural abilities," Kira answered carefully. "I had environmental advantage, and the guards underestimated human adaptability." The commander made a gesture, and the energy field around Kira intensified. She felt a pressure against her mind, something probing at her thoughts. But the bond seemed to protect her, creating a barrier. The Velexi technology could not penetrate. "Fascinating," the commander said. "The bond shields you from mind scanning. Even our most advanced systems cannot break that connection." His tone changed, becoming less formal, more curious. "You truly care for her. Your protective instinct is genuine, not manufactured. How quickly your species forms attachments." Before Kira could respond, the ship alarms activated. The commander turned, sharply barking commands into a communication device. "The interrogation is suspended. Report to Central Command immediately." Guards escorted Kira through corridors now filled with rushing crew members. Something had disrupted the ordered efficiency of the vessel. When they reached the command center, Kira saw Nalara already there, standing proud before the ship captain. The princess had undergone a transformation. Her posture and bearing had changed, becoming undeniably regal. She wore ceremonial markings on her face and arms, symbols of her royal house that seemed to glow with inner light. "Captain Lanara of House Ocean Nalara." Voice carried throughout the chamber. "I have completed the ritual of truth before your crew. I have demonstrated the royal mysteries that cannot be falsified. I claim right of command under ancient law." The captain, a tall Velexi, with elaborate rank patterns across her blue skin, bowed deeply. "My life to the true crown, Princess Nalara. Your identity is confirmed beyond doubt. The alert from Central Command regarding your status has been received, but the ritual of truth supersedes political declarations. We are bound by oath to the legitimate royal line." Kira felt relief flood through her. Nalara plan was working. The ancient traditions and rituals still held power even in this advanced civilization. The captain continued. "However, my duty requires transparency. Your cousin Sorella has declared herself regent. She claims the royal family was lost in a tragic accident. She controls the Central Council and has ordered all royal guards to escort any surviving family members to the capital for protection. Nalara voice hardened. "The assassination attempts against me were ordered by Sorella herself. The shadow guards who pursued me to Earth carried her personal authorization codes. I have transferred this evidence to your systems." The captain reviewed the data, her expression darkening. "This is most disturbing. The authorization appears genuine. The law is clear in such matters. If a member of the royal family accuses another of treason, Both must appear before the Council of Elders for judgment. It is the only way to resolve succession disputes without civil war. And if I return to the capital, Nalara asked, what guarantee do I have that I will reach the council alive? The captain straightened her spine. Our ship and crew would stand as your honor guard. By ancient right, no force may interfere with a royal progression to judgment. Any attempt would be met with lethal response regardless of who orders it. Through the bond, Kira sensed Nalara weighing the options. This was their chance not just to survive, but to legitimately challenge Sorella with the protection of the Royal Guard of Force, bound by traditions older than the current government. I accept, Nalara declared, but my bonded protector must remain at my side at all times. The life bond makes this non-negotiable. The captain glanced at Kira. The human presence will complicate matters, but the life bond is recognized in our most sacred texts. It cannot be denied. She bowed again. We set course for the capital immediately. A royal progression requires formal announcement. I will dispatch heralds to all major houses. No one will dare move against you while these protocols are observed. As the ship changed course heading toward the heart of Valexi space, Nalara and Kira were provided with private quarters befitting royal status. The princess explained what had happened during her separate interrogation. The royal guards follow a code older than our modern government, she said. They are sworn to protect the royal line regardless of political shifts. When I performed the royal mysteries rituals that only true members of the bloodline can complete, they were bound by their oaths to acknowledge me. Many of these traditions seem archaic in our technological age, but they were designed as safeguards against exactly this type of coup. Kira sat beside Nalara on a cushioned platform that adjusted to their body shapes. So your cousin underestimated the power of tradition. Nalara nodded. She believes in progress at any cost, abandoning the old ways in favor of efficient solutions. She sees our rituals as weaknesses. When she declared herself regent, she followed modern protocols, digital verification systems that can be manipulated, but she neglected the ancient ceremonies, believing them irrelevant. That oversight will be her undoing. The journey to the Valexi capital took 3 days. During that time, the Royal Guard vessel was joined by 2 additional ships responding to the formal announcement of a royal progression. It was a powerful show of force and legitimacy. Kira spent the time learning more about what awaited them. The capital was an artificial construct orbiting the Valexi homeworld, a vast complex of interconnected structures housing billions of citizens. The Council of Elders maintained chambers at its center, where tradition and technology merged in perfect balance. Captain Lanara provided daily briefings on the political situation. Sorella had consolidated power, quickly claiming that the royal family had been lost in a spatial anomaly while traveling to diplomatic negotiations. Her military connections had allowed her to place loyal commanders in key positions, but she had not yet undergone the final coronation rituals. Without the royal mysteries, she cannot truly claim the throne, the captain explained. The people know this, which is why she has declared only regency status, not full succession. The appearance of Princess Nalara changes everything. A true blood royal, who can perform the mysteries, is the legitimate heir, regardless of political maneuvering. As they approached the capital system, Nalara grew more withdrawn. Kira felt anxiety through their bond. The princess spent long hours in meditation, preparing herself for what was to come. On the final night before their arrival, she shared her deepest fears with Kira. My cousin is dangerous not just because of her ambition, but because parts of her argument resonate with our people. The galaxy is changing. Species like yours are emerging, expanding rapidly. Our period of isolation and internal focus has left us vulnerable. The Valexi must adapt, but not through conquest or domination, as Sorella advocates. There must be a middle path. What will you do if you regain the throne? Kira asked. Nalara looked at her with those remarkable purple eyes. I will establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth, not as superior beings, but as equals who can learn from each other. I see now that my civilization, despite its advanced technology, has stagnated without the spark of adaptability that humans possess. The council chamber was an architectural marvel, a perfect dome with walls that seemed to shift between solid matter and pure energy. The ceiling displayed the entire Velexi star system in real-time movement, with their home planet at the center. 13 elder Velexi sat in a semicircle on elevated platforms, their skin showing the deep indigo of extreme age. Their eyes were milky white, having evolved beyond the need for physical sight, relying instead on perception fields that allowed them to sense truth on multiple levels. Kira could feel the weight of tradition in this space. The very air hummed with energy fields and scanning systems, both technological and biological, designed to prevent deception of any kind. Nalara had explained that in this chamber no falsehood could stand unchallenged. It was why Sorella had been unable to claim full succession without performing the royal mysteries here before the elders. The audience platforms surrounding the central floor were filled with representatives from major Velexi houses. The royal progression had drawn attention across the empire, forcing Sorella to allow open attendance. The proceedings would be witnessed by thousands in person and billions more through direct neural feed. Sorella stepped forward. First addressing the council with practiced grace, honorable elders, I come before you in a time of transition. Our beloved royal family was lost to us in a spatial anomaly, a tragedy that left our people without guidance. As highest member of House Shadow and designated protector of the royal line, I assumed temporary regency, as our laws require. She gestured toward Nalara, with a perfectly calibrated show of surprise and joy. Now my cousin returns alive and well, bringing joyous relief to our hearts, yet questions remain. How did she alone survive? What occurred during her absence? And why has she bonded herself to a human, a species barely beyond planetary confinement? Her choices require examination before succession can be confirmed. The eldest council member raised a withered hand, silencing the murmurs that rippled through the chamber. Princess Nalara of House Celestial, you have performed the royal mysteries before witnesses. The right of challenge is yours. Do you accept the protocols of truth-seeking? Nalara moved to the center of the chamber, her bearing regal and composed. I accept the protocols without reservation. Let all truth be revealed. She turned slowly, meeting the eyes of the assembled representatives. I did not survive a spatial anomaly. I escaped an assassination attempt ordered by my cousin Sorella, who sought to eliminate the entire royal line and claim our throne. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Sorella's face remained impassive, but Kira sensed a spike of anger through the bond. Nalara was monitoring her cousin's emotional state, using the connection to track reactions invisible to others. I present as evidence the command codes found on the shadow guards who pursued me to Earth. Nalara continued. The verification protocols are unaltered and can be examined by the council. One of the elders made a subtle gesture, and the data appeared in holographic form above the central floor. The code structures rotated slowly as authentication systems analyzed their origins. The elder nodded. These bear the personal cipher of Sorella of House Shadow. They cannot be falsified. Sorella stepped forward, her composure perfect. Honorable elders, I do not deny authorizing protection details for the royal family. But these codes were stolen from my personal systems. During the confusion following the anomaly, security protocols were compromised, a clever defense. Kira thought, admiring the tactical move despite herself. Nalara cousin was turning an accusation into proof of broader security failures. The human presence must be addressed. Another elder stated, directing milky eyes toward Kira. The life bond is ancient and sacred, yet never in our records has it been formed with a non-Velexi being. What compelled such an extraordinary action, princess? Before Nalara could respond, Sorella interjected. Perhaps my cousin has been compromised during her time among primitives. The humans are known to be unpredictable, potentially dangerous. Their chaotic nature and emotional instability make them unsuitable for advanced contact. The bond could be evidence of manipulation or coercion. Kira felt Nalara momentary hesitation. Through their connection, she sensed the princess calculating response options. This was the critical moment. Sorella was playing to fears already present in Velexi society, fears of outside contamination of chaos, disrupting their ordered existence. "Let the human speak," the eldest council member commanded, surprising everyone. "The bond gives." Her standing in this chamber, her perspective may provide clarity. All eyes turned to Kira. The bond pulsed with encouragement from Nalara. The human stepped forward, feeling the scanning systems analyzing her biological responses, ensuring truthfulness. She chose to embrace simplicity over elaboration. "I am Kira Frost, security specialist from Earth. I found Princess Nalara injured and pursued by assassins. I chose to help her without knowing her identity or importance. She offered the bond when we had no other options for survival. I accepted knowing it was permanent. She kept nothing hidden from me." Kira paused, looking directly at the elder's milky eyes. "I have seen both worlds now. Through the bond. I understand Valexi harmony and beauty, your technological marvels and social order, but I have also seen what you have lost. Your predictability made the assassination nearly successful. Your rigid thinking made you vulnerable to deception." Murmurs spread through the chamber. But Kira continued, "Where humans are chaotic, we are also adaptive. Where we lack your technological advancement, we find creative solutions. Princess Nalara survived because she learned to embrace unpredictability, to think beyond protocols and patterns. She survived because she adapted." The eldest elder leaned forward. "What would you have us understand?" Human Kira gestured to Sorella. "Your regent speaks of humans as primitive and dangerous because we represent what you have forgotten how to navigate change without fear. The universe is not ordered or predictable. It requires adaptation to survive. Nalara understands this now. She can lead your people to evolve without losing what makes you." Valexi Sorella voice cut through the chamber. "What presumption? A human, lecturing the Valexi Dominion on evolution. The council cannot seriously consider." The scanning field intensified, suddenly focusing on Sorella. The elder raised a hand, interrupting her. "Deception detected. The field has registered calculated falsehood." Profound silence fell over the chamber. Sorella stood rigid as the scanning systems surrounded her with pulsing energy. The truth protocols had activated, automatically triggered by the pattern of her speech and biological responses. "The evidence will be examined," the elder declared. "All communication records, security authorizations, and command protocols from Regent Sorella must be submitted for analysis." Sorella composure finally cracked. "You exceed your authority. The military council has already truth. Will reveal itself," the elder stated simply. The scanning field intensified, forming a containment barrier around Sorella. "You will remain in examination stasis until all evidence is processed." Nalara stepped forward, addressing the council directly. "I do not seek vengeance but restoration. Our people stand at a crossroads. The galaxy changes around us. We cannot remain isolated, nor can we return to conquest. I offer a third path alliance based on mutual growth. We have much to teach, but also much to learn." She turned to the assembled representatives. "The Valexi achieved technological perfection generations ago, yet we have stagnated culturally. Evolution requires the embrace of controlled change, not rigid adherence to patterns. I have experienced this truth through the bond with my human protector. Our differences create strength rather than weakness." Kira felt the mood shifting in the chamber. As Nalara spoke, the representatives leaned forward, many nodding in subtle agreement. The princess had found the balance they sought, acknowledging tradition, while embracing necessary evolution. The examination of Sorella took 3 days. During that time, Nalara and Kira were kept in ceremonial quarters. Their bond allowed them to sense the political current swirling through the capital as factions aligned and realigned. Evidence mounted against Sorella with each passing hour. Communications were discovered proving her direct orders to eliminate the royal family military units. Loyal to her were quietly replaced with neutral commanders. On the final day, they were summoned back to the council chamber. Sorella stood in the center, her proud bearing diminished by the evidence arrayed against her. The elders had reached their decision. Sorella of House Shadow. The eldest spoke. "You are found guilty of high treason against the royal line. The evidence is irrefutable. Your actions were calculated to eliminate the legitimate succession and install yourself as absolute ruler. Chamber was silent as the elder continued. According to ancient law, the penalty is memory dissolution and exile. Your identity and knowledge will be preserved in the central archives but removed from your consciousness. You will be transported to an outer colony with no memory of your former position or crimes. Do you accept this judgment? Sorella head lowered briefly before she looked up with defiance still burning in her eyes. I accept the judgment, but history will prove me correct. The Velexi cannot survive without evolution. The humans and other emerging species will not remain contained forever. We must adapt or perish. The eldest elder regarded her thoughtfully. Your goal was not without merit. Sorella of House Shadow, it was your methods that betrayed our highest principles. Change will come, but through wisdom, not elimination. You will be remembered as both warning and catalyst.